All this stuff stacked up here, and this should all together space these two pieces out 3 1/4 inches, which is exactly what they need to be. About there, I think. Pretty close to that, anyway. There we are. Cool, should work. At long last, I finally built the gate latch for this gate, and the plan is to get this put on today, get the steers moved in here, and just kind of get them settled here in the bullpen until they have to go off to their appointment. So we're going to do that and see where the day takes us. That's what's going on today on Farmer Tyler Ranch. When I stacked the concrete here, I thought this was such a great place for it because it was going to be protected from the weather, yet be right here close by to where it's eventually going to go. But as you might have guessed, it is in the way if I want to put a round bale here to feed these steers, which is what I want to do. These bags are going to have to move. Alright. I'm sure it won't be long before I decide that the bags are in the way there as well, and I'll feel like I need to move them again, but we'll cry about that when it happens. I decided I guess it's smart to take this back rubber down before I try to get the boys in here, because it's been a while since they've seen one of these, and when they look through the open gate and sort of put the pieces together that they're supposed to go in here, I don't want them to see something that could potentially scare them or cause them any hesitation of wanting to come in here. So we'll kind of get this out of the way. I'll set a bale in there for them. So hopefully that kind of entices them a little bit, and we'll have to get the calves out of here and see what we can do. Just put it off this way. Bale's good, water's good. I got to set some gates, move some calves. And before we move them over here, there's one thing I did want to point out, because a lot of people had mentioned this about this type of latch, about how the steers or cows or whatever happens to be in there can get their nose and lift this up. So my answer to that is putting the pin here. I probably won't put pin style latches on those other gates in the working corral, because holding animals in there is not really going to be normal. And if they do happen to open those gates, they don't really go anywhere. Whereas this gate, if they happen to get it open, they're loose. Hold on. I'll let you back in. I'll let you back in a little bit. Go. The weak link in this operation is certainly this little fence right here. If those steers happen to sneeze on it, it might fall over, so let's hope they don't do that. You can see these guys want out of here bad, and I'm just hoping they don't get too excited, but we'll see how it goes. Hey, don't knock it. Really? Make sure you step on it and break it. I don't want you to forget that. Where are you going? Okay, first obstacle clear. Hey, get off of that fence. Get off of that fence. Oh, don't jump that. Please don't jump that. Go back that way. Look, there's an open gate you haven't looked at yet. Boys. Look where your friend's going. There we go. You guys in a better mood now? The next day, or maybe it's been a couple days since the last clip you just saw, but I'm just going around here this morning kind of getting all my morning chores done, and guess what, we got a lot to do today. You guys doing all right here in your new digs? Looks like you got some hay soup going. Well, they definitely don't need any more hay. Give you the whole thing. What are we doing over here? First thing this morning, we got to give this bale to the steers that are still here at the steer pasture. Some of you guys might remember that, boy, I don't know, it's been a couple months, maybe, at least a month ago, that I brought a load of hay bales out here so that I wouldn't have to haul one out each time I had to feed them. That actually ended up working out really good, and I plan to do that again, but we've got a storm rolling in here in a couple of days, so I decided today is probably not the best day to bring a load of bales out here to set outside because they're just gonna get rained on for a week. So I decided it would be smarter to wait until that storm passes to bring the next load out. I'm all done over here, and my plan was to run into town to do a few errands that I need to get done. But my truck gave me this notification, so it looks like I'd probably be smart to head straight home. We made it home safe and sound, and for those of you that aren't familiar with a modern diesel truck, they have a pretty complicated emission system, and whenever the computer detects a problem with that system, it'll put the truck into what is known as limp mode in a set amount of miles. Like in this example, it's given me 50 miles to get this issue taken care of before it limits my speed to 50 miles an hour, and if I was to ignore it and just let it go beyond that, eventually it gets you down to 25 miles an hour. So there's no point in, trying to avoid this. We need to get it fixed right now. And this is all that much more urgent because I need to haul steers on Monday. Today is Wednesday. I really need to get this fixed so that I can make that appointment. And if I can't, or if the mechanic cannot get this fixed in time, then I might have to look into some other options. All right, truck is at the shop getting worked on, hopefully gonna be getting fixed quickly. So that means I can get back to doing what I was trying to get done today. This afternoon, the goal is to get out in the hay field and get it sprayed, but before I can go out there, I've got to get the sprayer set up so that everything comes out right. The last job that the sprayer was used for was strip spraying in the orchard, so we've got some really big orifices on here and I need to change them out. The nozzles that I run for this application are 80 O2s, and basically that means you've got an 80-degree fan, and then the O2 refers to the orifice size. I'm not exactly sure what the units are. I'm guessing it's probably millimeters, but just the thing to know is that the smaller numbers are smaller and the bigger numbers are bigger. When you're field spraying, you're mostly concerned with how many ounces of material you're applying per acre. In this case, I'm putting down 2,4-D at a rate of 32 ounces per acre. But obviously, we can't just only spray 32 ounces of 2,4-D. We have to mix that with water to create a solution of 2,4-D and water. The way that I've got this set up, I will be putting down about 12 gallons of solution per acre, which means that each load off of my 100-gallon tank can get me 8 acres, which means that each full load will treat 8 acres. For that to be true, it matters obviously how wide I am, how many nozzles I have, how fast I'm going, and I've sort of calculated all of this stuff already. I know I need to be going 5 miles an hour, and I need to catch, I think, 13.5 ounces in 30 seconds. And by catch 13.5 ounces, I literally mean put a measuring cup under one of the nozzles, run it for 30 seconds exactly, and see how much I get. Probably hard to tell on camera. We're right at 13, so we need a little bit more. And for making small adjustments like that, you just do that with the throttle on the motor. If we needed to make a big adjustment, like if I was way off, then I would have to change orifice sizes. Everything looks good to go, and now is definitely the time to figure that out while we've only got water in there. So I think I am ready to add chemical. All right, I think we're ready to go. Well, I'm moving right along here, and I know that this is not really the best film job that I've ever done, and really spraying particularly is very difficult to film because you know, it requires you to turn the sprayer on and off a lot, and then you kind of have to place your cameras where you know that they're not going to get drifted on with chemical. So it makes it kind of tough, but I did want to stop and jump off the four-wheeler real quick to show you guys a couple of things. The first one being the weeds that we're going after. I mentioned before that I'm spraying 2,4-D in the tank there, and that is a selective herbicide. It's not going to harm any of the grasses that are out here, but it will go after all of the broadleaf. And you can see we've got a ton of broadleaf right at ground level, and if we didn't do anything about it, it can become a problem. And I know, because there have been years where I didn't get to spray because of weather conditions or whatever, and you can definitely tell the difference. Probably the biggest problem in this side of the field are thistles, and you can see that they're coming up. They're very small right now, and if I spray them now and kill them, then they're not really going to be a factor when it comes time to bale. But that's a big reason why I like to get this sprayed. And as a matter of fact, when thistle dries out, the cattle will eat it, surprisingly, but I don't like having it out here in case I want to sell some of this hay. Usually buyers don't like thistle in there. And then if I ever like plug the baler up, or even when I'm feeding out bales, if I need to like grab a handful of hay out of the bale, I don't like grabbing a handful of thistle. And the other thing that I wanted to show you is my guidance system. You can see I've got these fiberglass posts with white cardboard on them, and every time I get to the other end of the field, I hop off the four-wheeler, move these over the correct distance, and then I can use it as a guide as I go back and forth. And it gets me pretty close. I kind of have accepted the reality that it's not going to be perfect, and there's going to be some overlap, and there's going to be some skips, but in the big picture, this actually does a fairly decent job. Well, I just beat the sun going down and got my last load out. I had to do a tiny load just to finish. I only had like 2 or 3 passes left. And while spraying the hayfield is something that I do every year, this year it is a little bit different because it's actually the first part of an experiment that I'm trying, and we'll be talking about that a little bit more in the next video. Thanks for hanging out with me today, guys, and I hope I'll see you again on Farmer Tyler Ranch.